I've got a very interesting piece of, I think it's English walnut. My nephew got a hold of me last year and said he had about 7 or 8 pieces he thought were burls. Came from his in-laws' farm. Well, I don't know if this is a burl or if it's part of a root system or just something that got cut off a tree. They all kind of look like this in one way or another. And I think it's about 12 inches long and 7 inches this way. The trouble is, that's what this side looks like. So this might be an exercise in how to waste time, but it is my time, and I really feel like I got to try to make something out of this because my nephew was pretty excited to give it to me. So I got to figure out how to get it mounted up, and I mount it on this side, and I'll be back when I have that figured out, and we'll see what happens. What I did was I put the piece between centers, kind of calculated a block that I cut on a wedge so that block would be parallel with the jaws. It was really close, so I went ahead and filled the gap with a tapered piece, hot glued that on. I will not be turning this without tailstock support. This is in here so I can get a tenon on the back side, and that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to start with a 1/2 inch bowl gouge, 512 RPM. I went ahead and sawed this off because the live center was on an angle and it changed holes on me once. I didn't want to do it again. So now I got a flat spot here. Should be easier. And potentially we're going to be able to get a tenon here. Alright, back to doing some turning. I'm going to try 580. This almost looks like maple. Okay, I want to get rid of this, but I don't want to do it without any support, so I think I'll just saw it off and then get a new center on it. That'd just be a lot of pressure on that hot glue to do that, so I wouldn't want to even try. I'm going to slow this down Come back up here, get a new center. And there we are. Okay, well that's looking better. I think we're fine here. If I can take a little bit more off, I'll have the jaws biting right there, because this might be just still a little bit big. But is this enough for it to sit and not tip over? I think it is, because I think we just touched this. Okay, let's clean that up and we'll come back and take care of this. Alright, I gotta try to get this a little flatter here for a place for it to sit. Right now it would just try to sit here. Alright, I think I don't know if it's going to work or not. But we are going to keep going. Kind of like I've been saying, I don't know if this is going to work out or not. I'm going to give it my best, and I want to see what this looks like, just in case when I turn the other side it just kind of becomes two pieces. So I'm going to take the Sandiflex and I'm going to clean that up there. And that thing is really heavy. I'm going to lock my spindle. Hey, that's a perfect spot. So isn't that going to look pretty cool if it works? Alright, well, I got one little spot that I'm not going to do anymore right now. It's about lunchtime. But yeah, gosh, that's pretty cool right there. So we're going to get that all cleaned up, and I'm not going to put any finish on it either until we're through. So I'll see you when this is flipped around. Came off pretty easy. Here's the hole that I had the worm screw in right there. I put a block in here just to have some tailstock support, because when I'm cutting this, I'm cutting a lot of air. But I might start right here, and it might just start cutting on that part as well. We're doing about 520 RPM, same half-inch bowl gouge. I stopped and switched to a 5/8. To get some of this out of here. So this is just in my way, and I think this little 4-inch battery powered chainsaw is going to do the trick. there we go. Alright, should be a lot easier with that block gone. I'm going to work up here. I do have a crack there, and I've got one underneath it going a different direction. So I'm going to cut on this, keep an eye on there. I may have to drizzle some CA in there. We'll see when we get down there a little bit more. And I've got plenty of stock there and plenty here. $6.25. Oh, this is pretty much dulled up my gouge. I think I'm going to resharpen. Okay, I sharpened the 5/8 and a half. We should be good to go. I'm pretty much done down to here. I just need to clean this out. And again, I don't really care too much about how thick it is. It's more about all the strange looking things on here. $625 RPM. Boy, that cuts a lot better. I wonder why. Alright, that's not too bad. I'd like to have made a cut through here, but I just can't get the RPM to do it. But the scraper works pretty good at a lower RPM. So that's how I'm going to finish that up. And try to do a little blending and get ready to do some sanding. Okay, I think it's time to sand. And look at this beautiful color that just showed up right in this area. Makes me want to go down another 1/4 inch, but I think I better stop while I'm ahead. Alright, I don't know what time it is, but this was quite a bit of work getting here. I might just do the sanding tomorrow. Wait a minute, tomorrow's the 4th. I can't work on the 4th. I changed my mind. I'm going to sand it now, be done with it. I'll start with 80 grit and I'll work my way up to 400. The hardest part's going to be right here where it was hard to cut. It was cutting air in between these points. I've taken it out of the lathe to get the finish on it. mostly because of these inclusions. I'm going to use shellac based sanding sealer, and I'll be able to brush it down into there really good. After that's dry, tomorrow I'll finish sanding the back side. I just need to go to the 320 and 400, but I want to get it on this side in case I want to put it up against a jam chuck. I like to get it nice and dry. I'm actually going to start with this brush and push some in there. And it may go through to the other side, but it still needs the final sanding. Alright, let's see what this grain looks like. From where I'm at, it looks pretty nice, especially right here. See that? Right there. Now you can see it. A lot of glare on that land this way. Oh yeah. It looks pretty nice. I never would have guessed. I thought I was possibly wasting my time, and maybe I was if you don't like this type of work, but I think it's pretty cool, especially because someone went out of their way to tell me about this and help me get it. So that's pretty special. I got a rabbit right here. When I look at it this way, it's a rabbit. If I look at it the other way, it looks like a dog or maybe a bear. I'm not sure. Okay, that's what it looks like. That's what I'm going to use. And I probably won't show the other side. The other side's really kind of rustic looking, I'll say. But I'm going to let this dry and work on it again tomorrow for a little while. An interesting story about this piece of wood. A year ago, my wife's nephew gave me 7 odd-looking pieces of wood. This is one of them. He thought they might be burls. 2 weeks ago, I brought this in from my pole shed and decided I'd look at it and see if it's worth turning, and it just sat there. Last week, we went to a family reunion, and my wife's nephew was there, of course, and I was sitting by him at the campfire, and he says, "Hey, have you turned any of those odd-looking pieces of wood?" I said, "As a matter of fact, I got one sitting next to my lathe, and now I know I'm going to go home and turn it." Seems it was just meant to be. I'm not sure what's going on here, but it just started wobbling. Maybe this got kind of thin and it shifted, so I'm going to take it off and I'll just chisel that piece off of there and get it sanded up and get the finish on it, and I'll be right back. Well, here it is, and I know not everybody will like this type of turning, but I sure do. Here's the underside, which I think is my favorite. It's got some beautiful colors in here, and it has these little textured areas that they remind me of big rocks in a river that get worn down and leaves little pockets, like on the Clackamas. We have lots of those. But it's just a pretty piece of wood. It's 12 inches wide, and it's about 8 inches this direction, and stands 3 inches tall. I used 2 coats of shellac based sanding sealer and 2 coats of shellac for the finish. So what am I going to use it for? Well, my first thought was that it would be a little serving tray, and it may end up doing that. But I started seeing things in here, and I think it needs to be sitting on a stand, both directions actually. So I saw some animals in here. Right there looks like a rabbit. He's got his head kind of pitched back, and when you turn it like that, it looks like a bear. You got a rabbit, then you have a bear. On the inside, I spotted a bird. There's his head right there with the feathers coming down. I think it's pretty cool. So, this was a lot of work. Was it worth it? I kind of think so. Let me know what you think in the comments. Special thanks to my nephew Warren for giving me this piece along with the others that came along with it. I sure had a lot of fun turning it, and I sure hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like the video, do me a favor. Click that like button and feel free to leave a comment. Both of those things will really help my channel grow. I do lots of different types of turnings, and you never know what might be next, so be sure to subscribe if you want to see more. And a special thanks to all my current subscribers. You really mean a lot to me. So, till the next time, see you later.